Geovanny Martinez. I'm a Senior Lecturing Fellow here at Duke University School of Law. Proud to be here. I'm also the Executive Director for the Center on Law, Race, and Policy. I learned about clerkships from my school at Howard University School of Law, where I attended. And there was a clerkship panel, and they were talking about the impact that clerkship can have on your career. For me, this was eye-opening because it presented an opportunity to better hone my skills. I was a research assistant to the dean of the law school, Kurt Schmoke, at the time. So I actively took any opportunities that I could have and that I could be exposed to hone my writing, to hone my advocacy skills, to hone any skills that were going to be applicable to the practice of law. You are helping, you are instrumental in the judge's decision making and the operation of the judge's chambers. And you're also, you get keen insight into what a judge looks for and how. For me, that was very important because I'm a first generation attorney, right? And what the practice of law looks like or what it means, for me was something that I just did not know going in. So that perspective was very important. What does good advocacy look like? What does it mean to be a good lawyer, a sound lawyer, right? And what does good advocacy look like across the board, whether it's through your writing, which a clerkship opportunity provides, whether it's through being able to stand and deliver, right? We often think about lawyers inside the courtroom, but a clerkship provides you that opportunity to see that and to see it firsthand. And you also get that additional mentorship and guidance and tutelage, right? The apprenticeship, if you will, that you get from a judge, because a judge is going to tell you, hey, why did you do this or that? Or think about the voice that you're using in terms of the writing that you're using, right? The law is active, it's not a passive, right? But there's a time and a place to even implement even those writing strategies. And that's what a clerkship did for me, and that's what a clerkship can do. So for me, I knew that my career would start in Maryland. So I knew that I wanted to do, be in a trial level court. I knew that so I looked at the different circuit courts around in the different counties in Maryland, right? And I cast a wide net, but at the same time, I also knew that I wanted to be in particular jurisdictions. Prince George's County was one of those jurisdictions. So that's how I went about identifying it. And then I also went about identifying who were the judges that I would be applying to, right? Whether at the appellate level, the intermediate appellate level, or the trial level. And again, that was a part of the considerations that I made in terms of who I would apply to. She made sure that I felt supported in my growth. She was very deliberate in asking me what it was that I wanted to get out of the clerkship. And I think a lot of judges are willing to do that. They're willing to have that one-on-one relationship with you because you're going to be there for a year. Depending on the makeup of chambers, you might be the only law clerk, unless you're in a federal setting that there are multiple clerks, right? But even then, right, you're a part of the family. You do become a part of the family. That is the type of relationship building that can happen. And years later in my career, I don't think I've ever made a decision in my career where I did not speak with my judge, right? In some way, shape, or form, to get some, where am I thinking about this the right way, right? Am I looking at this? What else should I be considering, right? And so years later, my judge is still my judge. You belong. There's space for you, right? And certainly don't self-select out of the opportunity. Oftentimes students, going back into the lies we tell ourselves and the stories that we make up and ultimately, that might prevent us from pursuing an opportunity or for taking that chance. Take the chance. The worst anyone can say is no, right? And yes, that might sting, but at the same time, that's the worst that can happen. The potential, the upside for a yes is just astronomical in terms of what it can do for you, right? So yes, there are a lot of considerations at play which should not be overlooked, but at the same time, think about what it can do for you. I often encourage my students in my classes, regardless of the class, I say consider a clerkship. There are different types of clerkships out there for all people. There are administrative law judges, right? There are magistrate judges. There are federal judges, right? There are state judges. I mentioned there's appellate versus intermediate appellate versus, trial level. And that happens at both the federal and the state. Of course, you have the Delaware Chancery Court, right? It's a different type of court. And as a student, as a first generation, as someone who perhaps might be from an SES, a different SES than perhaps other peers and colleagues, you still have a space within all of that, so long as you take that chance and so long as you apply. So do not count yourself out. Do not bet against yourself. Do not take yourself out of the running when there's plenty of room for you should you seek it out. And my encouragement is that by all means you should.